If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you're struggling with dying during the early game. Well, in today's video, I have a complete guide to help you live up spawn and go on to set up your mid games so that way you'll win more games or perform better in cash cups. But before we begin, I would like to thank you guys for helping me hit 300 subscribers on YouTube. That's a big accomplishment and I'm very thankful for you guys. And I'd also like to ask you guys to subscribe before we begin. Alright, let's begin. So first we're going to talk about drop spots. You're going to want to make sure you pick the right drop spot, and if you're a little confused on how to pick the right drop spot, here are some things that can make a drop spot worth landing at. How much loot there is, how much metal there is, if there's any rotation out of the POI, if there's a lot of ammo crates or not, how contested the POI is, how easy it is to land at the POI, how easy it is to fight there, how easy it is to land there, and how much surge you can get when you're rotating out of the POI, and also how big the POI. There's also little other things like how compacted the loot is, how much guaranteed chests there are, and how much guaranteed heals there are, like cactus and slurp barrels, and how many other people land around you. All of these factors add up and determine if your drop spot is good or not, and you can do this by yourself. Just think about it. You can go on Fortnite.gg as well. That will tell you how much loot is exactly there, where the chests are, where the cactus are, anything you want to know about the Fortnite map. Now, before you actually pick the drop spot, you want to take into consideration how many people actually land at that drop spot, because a place like Redline Reg will always have more than 3 teams there in duos, or at least 4 or 5 people there in solos trying to get the medallions. Or if you land somewhere like the Underworld, there might be 1 or 2 teams there in duos, and then maybe 1 or 2 persons there in solos. So you really want to pick a spot that's determined based off of how confident you are in fighting off spawn. If you're less confident in fighting off spawn, I would recommend even landing like a smaller POI or a house with at least 7 chests. You want 7 chests minimum at your drop spot for it to be sufficient enough with enough loot for you to be able to play the game out. But yes, you want to pick a drop spot where your fighting skills, your fighting confidence level will reflect in you actually living off spawn. Now, once you pick your drop spot, you're going to want to establish a loot route. A loot route is basically just where you're going to loot right after you finish fighting off the POI and looting up the POI. Things you're going to want to include in your loot route is just more surrounding loot, wherever you can get metal or any materials that you need, and just anything to cap off and make sure you have enough loot to get through the mid game. And at the end of the loot route, you're going to want to determine where you can position yourself to set yourself up for mid game, or if you want to set yourself up for a bunker or forecast tower. Alright, now that you picked your drop spot, you have a loot route, you're going to want to start developing some strategies for your drop spot. There's many ways to do this, but the best way to do it is by determining what house you're going to land at always and what chest you're always going to go for, so that way you know exactly where to land and what loot to get. An example of this is whenever I land Classic Court, my plan is to always land on the left side of the building, because that's where the slurp barrels are and there's multiple chests there that I can get, so that way it allows me to instantly have mats, instantly have heals, and then I can instantly peek the tennis courts and shoot at the people there because they're going to have less loot than I have. That's a simple example of a way to develop a strategy for your drop spot. With each drop spot, everything is different, but just adjust accordingly to your drop spot. Now, the next tip that I have for off spawn fighting is you want to learn how to create advantages for yourself. There's 3 different types of advantages that you can make for yourself, and those 3 are material advantage, loot advantage, and height advantage. Creating each advantage for yourself will make yourself harder to kill. Each advantage has its own way of making yourself stronger, and I'm going to go over the 3. A material advantage means it's harder to die. It's harder to die because your opponent has to spend more resources, ammo, builds, or anything really just to get to you. It also allows you to play more smart peeks and angles and allows you to take height. Having a loot advantage means having more heals, guns, shotgun, or anything better than the opponent. It allows you to do more damage and allows you to take your time instead of having the 50-50 for loot. In the height advantage, it allows you to start and control the fight, and it forces the opponent to have to build up to you, which makes them spend more resources. The best way to learn and create these advantages faster is by simply keeping it in your mind. Keeping it in your mind will help you get better because you're actively focused on it. Now to set yourself up for the mid game. Going into around 2nd or 3rd zone, you're going to want to have as many heals as possible, a shotgun, SMG or AR, and max metal and at least almost cap wood or brick, you want to have enough resources to at least get through the mid game or get to another spot where you can cap off your resources. Learning the map and learning different locations to get more resources is crucial to succeeding through the mid game. This allows you to refarm your materials, get ammo, get heals, or anything you might need to replenish yourself from a fight if you have taken one. Anyways, those are just some tips that I had to help you improve the off spawn and early game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I stream all tournaments on Twitch if you guys want to come watch, and yeah, peace out guys.